Yeah, really winding things down. And to introduce these players, starting in the bottom right position, the man whose name deceives his race. Coming in as the green Terran player, he is Acer's Hydra. And spawning in the top right position as our purple Protoss player, that's a mouthful, is going to be Krolu.
Yeah, so Protoss versus Terran. That's the second PvT we're going to be watching today, which is, or maybe even the third. We have seen MC versus Fuser. Have we seen any other PvTs?
We had MC versus Ike, actually, to start things off, I think, was one of our first matches.
Ah, right, Ike. Ike fought well, but he was a little bit outclassed there.
He put his best foot forward. Krolu, looking like he wants to open up with a 14 gate, so a bit more on the economic side of things for Protoss versus Terran. Of course, this matchup has probably become one of the more dynamic ones. A lot of new builds popping up for both races, really, of course. We saw MC pioneering quite a bit in the earlier stages, but as the metagames kind of develop, we've seen a few more recent shifts. Actually, just thinking about the recent qualification matches, or at least WCS matches, we've had Thorzane as well as Illusion, Terran players playing in WCS North America, or I believe Illusion was actually in Europe, actually going for some interesting Hellbat timings. So I'm really curious to see what Hydra is going to pull out of his sleeve. He is opening up with this gas. Any thoughts on what we might see out of Krolu?
Out of Krolu, I would like to say that he's pretty unlucky with his scouting pattern. This probe has been away from home for pretty much the entirety of the game and still hasn't been able to scout the Terran. And by the time he gets there, there is going to be a wall off and nothing for him to see. So that probe is going to be a little bit sad, but he's going to head over there, maybe catch a glimpse of the command center going down. Krolu on this map, yeah, it's so difficult to predict what this guy might do because I'm not familiar with his play as much. We could see a Stargate opener before Nexus, like a one-gate Stargate Nexus, or a Nexus into Stargate, or we could just see very straight-up play. Ooh, that probe might be going down. Oh. That poor probe did nothing but be away from home and then died without really seeing anything.
All he wanted was to love and be loved, but alas.
The Marines loved him.
Yeah, the Marines loved him a little more than he probably wanted. Mothership Core is coming out for Krolu. He's going to be able to use this to scout, though, which is kind of a cool thing on Whirlwind. There's quite a bit of airspace, so he might just use it for a bit of early defense. He looks like he wants to go for a Nexus, but the probe headed over towards that natural. So, looking at a couple of the build options, though, with this second gas geyser now being complete for Hydra, we could see an Armory get throwdown, as well as a Starport. And as I say that, the Armory is on the way for Hydra. Factory is complete, and this is starting to look a little bit more like that build I mentioned before with Thorzane and Illusion have recently busted out in WCS, and I guess this is going to be our flavor of the month build. I think a lot of Hellbats, a lot of drops, and some cute stim follow-up timings. We'll have to see if Hydra has his own spin to the build, or if he's going to just try to crank it out as standard as possible, going for a second reactor. This could actually be a double Hellbat drop build. Using the reactor to go for double medevacs, since you can only fit 2 Hellbats in one. What do you think Krolu needs to do to defend this? He's only on 2 gateways so far, and no real heavy production investments yet.
Yeah, it's so difficult to defend. If it is that build that you just pointed out, the double Hellbat medevac drop, so 2 Hellbats, 4 Hellbats, 2 medevacs, and hitting the natural and the main base at the same time, it's going to be super difficult for Krolu to defend against. The best thing for Krolu to defend against that would be to either go for a quick robo and get an Immortal out in like a mineral line real quickly, or go for a standard play where you go 1 gate expand into 2 really quick gateways after that. Having 3 gateways operational early on definitely helps your chances of holding that off successfully, but Krolu has opted for an early forge instead of that 3rd gateway that we usually see. So he's going to be better off in the long run, but is he going to get there? Is he going to get to the long run? Is he going to get to the mid game? Is he going to survive those Hellbats dropping?
And, you know, being 1 match away from a qualification match, really, in this qualifier, you do not want to take a lot of risks in Krolu. He's got the Robo. He's got 2 gateways, though. And in terms of how this build is going to interact with these unit compositions, Hydra has such a good position. The sentries are great for force fielding. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he's going to be able to just run around and muck. But the problem is he can drop on top of the sentries. He can cause disruptions in the later stages. But I think as this drop moves in, the only thing that's a little more shocking to me is the fact that he's getting a fast vehicle weapons. And we could see some kind of mech follow-up. I'm not so sure, but now the drop is moving into the main base of Krolu.
Uh-oh, this is pretty dangerous right now. The Immortal is about to pop out. That's going to help out immensely. The probes are going down. The medevacs were actually starting to be focused down. Photon Overcharge goes down, and all the medevacs are going to go down, but all the Hellbats are still alive. Getting down the medevacs is one thing, but these Hellbats will still be able to do a lot of damage. The Immortal joins in, will be able to kill them off. The Hellbats not really focusing on probes as much. We're attacking the Nexus for quite a big time there, but still 19 workers killed there by Hydra. And he's got a Widow Mine in the natural of Krolu that has been able to kill 3 workers too. So how many workers does he have left, you ask? 16.
This is not a fun place to be in as a Protoss. This is, you're kind of reaching that point where when this second drop comes in, if Krolu doesn't somehow expertly hold this off without taking any damage, you kind of reach that point where you're playing a ladder game as Protoss, and then you just want to turn your computer off. You just don't want to play StarCraft for the rest of the day when you get hit with this kind of stuff and a Hellbat drop does that much damage. He's going to move out with these 3 Stalkers and this Immortal, but how much is he going to be able to do? There's a bunker with 3 Marines, there's Hellbats back at home. He's going to spot one of these medevacs, but all that's going to do is force him to retreat, and he does have the Photon Overcharge available for defensive purposes, but covering both of these bases will not be easy. The only good thing about not having probes in his natural is that there's not really much there for the Hellbats to kill, but he will gladly accept these 3 probes as tribute either way, and so they shall die. The drop hitting the main base, and these Hellbats targeting down these probes, getting even more kills in. 25 probes have died so far in the making of this film. Quite a slaughter here, and, well, going for the mech follow-up is almost adding insult to injury, something that a lot of players don't really do too much versus Protoss, but he's saying, I'm far enough ahead, I could probably go whatever I want. And Krolu, Hellbats, he is not happy with this situation that he has been pressed into, realizing he has to go for a bit of a desperation all-in with this Immortal, with these Sentries and these Stalkers, but as he's going, there's already Hellbat drops moving out. It does look like Hydra will be bringing them back. He could almost just mana drop them on the sentries and deny the force fields, but he is going to try to break this. There's a Widow Mine here, and all he needs to do is repair with these SCVs. I don't know if Krolu's going to be able to bust this.
I don't think he's going to be able to. Good force fields, though, denying any kind of repair. But the Marines just go out the bunker and in the other one, and that's the bunker that the SCVs can repair a little bit, so that does stay alive a little while longer. Here come the Hellbats. They get dropped right on top of the army, and yeah, that is probably going to be it for Krolu, losing everything here. Sentries have gone down out of force fields. GG Terran is what he throws out. A bit of a friendly banter.
He's a little bit upset. I mean, when you consider how high the stakes are, of course, passion can cause the boiling of the blood, as it were, for the spirit of competition. So we're going to have to see what his plan will be for game number 2. He is a little bit upset. Understandably, if you made it this far into a tournament and lost 18 probes to a Hellbat drop, you'd be sad too. But GG, Hydra takes game number 1 in this best of 3.